It started with just one more game before bed, but it's turned into a 10-game losing streak. Today, I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons you're getting into these streaks and how to stop them and recover from them. My name is Nathan, and welcome to Blizzard Guides. Real quick before I start the video, I just wanted to remind those of you who haven't subscribed that we have a ton of really great other guides for heroes, comps, strategies, and more, in addition to our epic highlight reels and Twitch weekly recap videos. So if you're interested in that, please consider getting subscribed to the channel so that you never miss an upload. I make a bunch of content for you guys in the hopes that I can help you to be the best that you can, so if you ever want a guide or need help with something specific, leave a comment and I will do my best to reply to each request. With that said though, let's get started with this video. At number 5, you may be feeling too much. Now, this is definitely going to be an unpopular opinion, and I'm 100% sure I'll see a comment saying, "Don't encourage people to insta-lock, it's only going to make the game worse." And while I actually do agree with that sentiment to an extent, if a person on your team is on a losing streak that is more than 4 games, you probably don't want that person filling anyway. It's only going to grant you another loss. You should definitely fill if you're doing well, but if you're on a losing streak, sometimes it is just worth locking in what you play. The reason being, if you're feeling too much, it can get to the point where you're not actually engaged in a specific hero and you're switching out your toolkit too often, meaning that you never really get ready for one specific hero. On top of that, you may be playing roles that you're not comfortable with, so because of this, I recommend that if you are on a losing streak and you've been feeling a lot, just pick your desired role and hero, and if the team asks you to switch, then just let them know that you've been having a lot of bad games on whatever role that they're asking for, and just don't switch. This is only if you've been feeling a lot and if you've been on a losing streak. If either of those things aren't true, please do not do this. However, if this is the case, then a majority of the losing streaks that I've seen from many hours of Overwatch have been because of overfilling. At number 4, if you're constantly getting into losing streaks, it might be a few things, so I'm splitting it up into a few points. The first possibility is that you're just over communicating with your team. This is one of those that is a bit harder to define, but what I see too many players who get a bit too confident with their abilities do is just over direct and be overpowering when it comes to comms. You might be trying to call out and coordinate with your team, but sometimes it is just better to just let them do their own thing. If your callouts become more than "let's push up" or "let's fall back," insert hero is 1, we have a combo, protect Ryan, etc., you may just be talking too much. Don't tell your Genji, "Hey, stop jumping in and dying, we need to stick together." Please just keep all of your callouts informative. Don't question fundamental gameplay from your teammates. If your Ryan is bad, your Ryan is bad. Don't tell him he is. If you really do have to, just say something like, "Hey Ryan, can we try holding back a bit further if he's overextending too much?" Don't focus on what your team is doing wrong, but just focus on what could be done to mitigate these mistakes. If you find that you have to keep your push to talk button down for more than 10 seconds at a time, then you may have been talking too much. Stick to what will help your team inform their own decisions. Don't be giving a play-by-play of what's currently going on in-game. At number 3, you're tilting too fast. This is one that you should have seen coming, but it's a bit different than what you may have been expecting, and it's actually one of the easiest things to fix. If your team loses a fight, don't just give up all hope. Some games may seem unwinnable in the beginning, but the majority of the time, it's because one of your teammates hasn't completely warmed up or hasn't really acknowledged the game with full focus. You know how in overtime sometimes your team starts coordinating all of a sudden and you may be staggered the whole entire game, but then suddenly in OT your entire team pulls together and starts going ham? This is kind of like that. Your teammates may not have completely been giving it their all until the percentage starts clicking up on the enemy team, or you've just been rolled really hard. All you have to do is keep cool and keep playing the way that you were at the beginning. Players who consistently climb 400 SR and then drop that and then keep getting on losing streaks usually do it for 2 reasons. 1, they're just plain boosted by a friend or because they paid somebody to do it, in which case I just ask you, please stop playing comp and actually learn how to play for yourself. But the second, the more serious one, is just the fact that you may tilt too hard and just get too nervous when your SR is at stake. It's the same reason you tend to lose the game right before you bridge into the next rank. You're just nervous and you aren't thinking about the decisions that you're making in the game. Focus on playing for the win and not on what your teammates said about how you're playing or what your team is doing wrong. That can't be fixed only by yourself. What you have to do is focus on performing as best as you can and meeting win conditions for your team by playing well. If you immediately get rolled on defense, don't assume that you can't do the same on attack. Don't immediately start switching roles either. If you're playing support and your first intuition is to immediately switch to DPS on the first lost push, then you're doing this exact thing yourself. That mentality loses games, believe it or not. At number 2, it's a smaller one, but you might be queuing at the wrong time. A bit more uncommon, but this is the cause sometimes. I used to play comp on the weekends, and then I realized that I actually had a lot more success queuing in the mornings and past 9 p.m, so I started doing just that and found that that crowd suits me a lot better. Queue times has less and less of an impact, however, the lower that your SR is, so this only applies to those of you in Diamond and above, but find a time that works for you. Remember that a lot of players that don't normally actually play queue during the weekends, 5 p.m, and holidays, so don't play at those times if you find that you are having a lot of bad games and you only queue at those times. And lastly, at number 1, you might just need to take a break for a bit. This is one of the harder things to do for some of you, but seriously, sometimes you just need to get into a break. After a while, your brain just starts automating things. If it's repetitive, you get into this groove where you do the same actions over and over and over again, where you might not even acknowledge it yourself. It's hard to tell when this happens, but it certainly does. You see a scenario similar to one that you've been in, so you repeat it, and you keep going again and again until you actually stop critically thinking about everything that you do. So sometimes it is just worthwhile to take a break for like 5 days, give or take a few. I actually commonly do this myself. I once took a break from an entire season of comp. If the game is causing you a lot of issues, there's just no reason to keep playing if you keep losing and keep ending up unsatisfied. Taking a break is often more rewarding than continually logging in and losing, so consider taking a break from the game and for a few days if it's really bugging you and you're constantly on losing streaks. As much as you and I love the game, sometimes you just get too focused on that SR number, and to be honest, it's really all not that worth it if you're really hating the game so much. Losing streaks do happen, you just have to step back and look at what's wrong, and sometimes the process of stepping back requires a break from the game altogether. Anyway, I hope this guide helped you guys out. Let me know what you thought about this video, and if you have any suggestions for a future video or for this one specifically, let me know in the comments down below. I always read your comments and I always want to help you guys out the best that I can. And if you like this video, please drop a like on this video so that I can see if you guys are enjoying this content, and if you really like what we're doing here, consider getting subscribed so that you can keep seeing content like this. We have tips and tricks videos so that you can be the best Overwatch player that you can be, and we also have epic moments videos and Twitch highlight reels so that you can see the best plays from around the globe. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. My name is Nathan, and this was Blizzard Guides.